passing 12th or in first year, when you kind of, in college, you come to grips with stepping out of, you know, a kind of a school kind of an era where you are sheltered. When you at least go to college, there is some opening up of public life, etc. That's the time that you can have debates. Why not? But not this kind of thing. This is certainly not what you are hinting at. Certainly you can have debates. You have debates about corruption everywhere. I'm not saying no.
Okay, Mr. Rohatgi, that brings me to my last question. What precedent does it set? If courts shape what can be said about them in textbooks, where does that leave the entire discussion around free speech and academic independence?
No, madam, free speech also has limitations. Every right under the Constitution has limitations. Free speech doesn't mean that you can go on abusing everybody at large just because you feel that you have the right of free speech. It has boundaries like anything else. And this is certainly crossing all boundaries.
All right, Mukul Rohatgi, former Attorney General, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Joining me now is Professor Chandra Bhushan Sharma, who's an educationist. Professor Sharma, there's a lot of discussion which is happening, and a sense certainly among the members of the judiciary and the bar is that there is a larger conspiracy to malign the entire judiciary.
I won't see it as a conspiracy to malign judiciary. I will say this is incompetence of the agency charged with the duty to design and develop textbooks. My first take on it would be that there is corruption in society, and we need to make our children aware that corruption destroys society, so be away from it and shout against it, because we are products of our own education. Now, it is important for us to make our children aware, so I would go for it that we should talk about corruption in society, talk about corruption in politics, talk about corruption in bureaucracy, talk about corruption in education. Everybody in the society is concerned about corruption in education. No, why don't you talk about it?
Professor Sharma, the point that has been made by Mukul Rohatgi, and I've been speaking to several members of the judiciary in the last few hours, the sense certainly is that it cannot be seen as one-off, and that this particular paragraph was inserted in a slime way.
Exactly. I completely agree, and that's the point, Maria.
Then who is responsible? Then who is responsible? Who do you think should be held accountable for this? NCERT chief?
Some time back, we had discussed the regulation 2026 released by the University Grants Commission, and I had taken a point that, or a view that the UGC is responsible. It is an autonomous institution. Government should not be put in dock. In this case, the government is squarely in the dock. The Minister for Education happens to be the chairperson of the Council of NCERT, and only the minister approves the textbooks, nobody else. Now, the director NCERT should be squarely held responsible. I see that the Supreme Court says that some heads would roll. The head of the director NCERT must roll. He is not an educationist. He has never taught in a classroom. He is an historian, and he has been given charge of the NCERT. He doesn't know the difference between syllabus and curriculum. I'm very sure that this person doesn't know what a textbook should be, what children are, they should be taught. The NCERT has put the government in a very difficult situation in the last few years, and this is squarely because of the director NCERT that he doesn't understand school education.
No, but my question is, if you feel that the NCERT has embarrassed the government, then and you say that this has been happening over the last few years, then what has been really done to ensure that these mistakes are not made by the NCERT?
No, nothing has been done. We have discussed many issues related to textbook of NCERT in the recent past, and nothing has happened. Nothing changes. Just asking for apology. I have read the apology letter that the NCERT has issued. That is nothing. When you have spent crores of public money in publishing these textbooks, distributing it, and now withdrawing it doesn't help. the government money has been spent and somebody must be responsible. To my understanding, the director NCERT should be put in the dock and immediately sent on leave. What happened with the vice chancellor of Nehu? What happened with the vice chancellor of Tejpur? You sent them on leave because they erred. But why don't you send the director NCERT on leave and let the inquiry take place till it is fixed? Okay. I am very confident of the view that the director NCERT has failed to really manage the NCERT in the last few years that he has been director, and time and again the NCERT errs on many occasions and nothing happens. In this case, I believe a very important organization of the nation. We must believe in our judiciary, and this textbook has put the whole judiciary in the dock. I think the NCERT is responsible, and because the Minister of Education happens to be the chair of the council, we will have to ask the council chairman, the minister, honorable Minister for Education, what action are you taking against the director NCERT?
Okay, so let's wait and see whether the government actually takes action against the director of the NCERT. Professor Sharma, I appreciate your time. Joining me now is a former Supreme Court judge, Justice Deepak Gupta. Justice Gupta, thank you. The Supreme Court has called the textbook's reference to judicial corruption a deep-rooted conspiracy, sir, to malign this institution. But corruption in politics, police and bureaucracy is routinely discussed in civics books. Is the judiciary then appearing unusually defensive here? And sir, the other view would be that in a democracy, shouldn't constitutional institutions be open to scrutiny?
No, there is no question that there can be no doubt that all constitutional authorities should be open to scrutiny. But I don't think so. I agree with you that the others have been castigated as there is corruption in other wings. As what I could make out from the newspaper reports and what little I could see from the article, the book in question, what I have said, it only makes reference to the judiciary, not to politicians, not to the executive, not to the police, not to anybody else. And please remember, we are dealing with class 8 kids. We are not dealing with some at a much higher level. I am the last person to say that if there is the ills of the judiciary should not be discussed, but should they be discussed in a class 8 book? And look at that article. If you read that article, it doesn't point out anything good in the judiciary. It also paints it all in dark shades of grey and black.
But Justice
that
Gupta,
is not the way books are to be written.
But there is also this fact that repeatedly, when it is about politics and police and bureaucracy, the challenges that they face has been spoken about. The court here, Justice Gupta, argued that a 13-year-old should not be exposed to what it termed biased misconceptions. But isn't civic education meant to prepare young citizens to understand both the strengths and also the challenges of institutions?
Well, where are the strengths? Can you point out, Mr. Keel, where are the strengths of the judiciary pointed out in that article? Only the weaknesses are pointed out, that there are long delayed cases, there is this. You see, when you deal with somebody in class 8, I am willing to give even this much that you can discuss this with class 8. But then shouldn't there be a balanced approach that yes, this is what the judiciary has done, this is what the thing, but these are the problems which we face in the judiciary. I can still understand that. But you can't just, this is, it seems to me, and I agree with the Chief Justice, that there's something much more sinister behind this. It's not just a pure article. These articles, you know how NCERT books are being changed. Our history is being changed, and now institutions are being maligned. I feel, I may be wrong, but I feel that the judiciary is being maligned so that people lose faith in the judiciary. But do you realize what will happen if all people lose faith in the judiciary? It will lead to a state of anarchy. There are ills in the judiciary, I am not saying that, but those are to be discussed at levels or in fora at a much higher level. Not at the level of class 7 or class 8 kids. When you are introducing them to judiciary, you shouldn't give them totally a negative. If you want to give a balanced approach, I have nothing against that also.
Okay. But Justice Gupta, when you say that there is some kind of sinister ploy, what can be this conspiracy and who's conspiring?
No, no. You see, the conspiracy is to undermine the judiciary, because today the judiciary is standing as one of the last bastion of to fight for the rights of the people. Once people have no faith in the judiciary, then obviously they are going to say that, well, then it'll be like anybody can take up and get his dispute settled outside court. It is happening. These mob lynchings which happen, these people going all over the streets asking people names, whether they belong to a particular religion, whether they belong to a different religion. What is this? This is all undermining the judiciary.
Okay, but don't you think, sir, that such a sweeping crackdown risks sending a message that criticism of the judiciary, even in academic discussion, will be met with institutional force rather than engagement?
I think if you see the last portion of the order, today's order, the order itself has 3 lines which says that we are not stifling criticism at any stage. And just see the last portion of the order itself today. It doesn't stifle criticism. And I myself have been very critical of the Supreme Court's judgments on various issues. I don't hold back words when I have to criticize certain judgments. I do it. But at that, it can't, you don't paint the entire institution in black. I've been part and parcel of this institution. There are good portions, there are bad portions, but we just that passage reads as if the judiciary is totally corruption ridden. It doesn't. It's not that. I'm not saying that there's no corruption in the judiciary. There is corruption, but is that something, a sweeping statement to be made in a Class 8 book? And I think the action taken is a very well measured action. I am sorry, I don't agree with you that this action is highly disproportionate.
All right, Justice Gupta, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on NewsTrack. That's all from me. We are putting out all those interviews on our website and also on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
True love is lifelong, isn't it? Just like Tata Power Solar Roof, best quality solutions, lifelong service guarantee and unmatched expertise. Ye on the quality lifelong.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. India and Israel signed 16 key agreements to boost strategic ties. Supreme Court wraps NCERT in content row, orders withdrawal of all copies. CAG report exposes irregularities in Nitish government's subsidy scheme.
What should Iran be allowed and what should America get?
To practice our rights. We have accepted not to have nuclear weapons, but at the same time we have full rights to use nuclear technology for peaceful purposes.